Hello everybody and welcome back to Manor Lords, where we are currently building houses. That is an important thing to do, of course. But we also need to get some food production online. That's going to be a pretty high priority after we get these houses built. I think that's very clear at this point. Now, I was taking a look at this up here. Number of months before supplies run out. So we've got 7 months of food right now and no fuel consumption at this moment. We do have a fair amount of fuel being produced up over here at the Woodcutter's Lodge. So that's looking reasonably okay for right now. Now, I'm thinking right now, assuming arability is okay, that we're going to do some farming down in this area for the moment. We'll see what ends up happening with that, but for now, that's the overall concept. We're still working on getting these houses done. That is 100% the top priority. So we'll have an extra house, plus we'll be able to expand to double our overall amount of housing. So this is looking pretty okay as far as housing goes, and getting our people happier would be good, for sure. They're not very happy because of homelessness. Understandable. We're working on it. So that's all looking absolutely fine. We're going to want to get the logging camp re-enabled fairly soon. Most likely. Actually, yeah, I'm going to re-enable it, but we're not going to assign a family to it just now. And we can re-enable the saw pit as well, but I'm not going to assign a family there either. Ooh. That was quite an LOD swap. Sure. Well, we're getting this housing put up over here. We've got the fences here, and this Burgage is almost completed. So that's excellent. So we can see that we've got water access, but we don't have any churches here. Market supply is definitely something that's going to need to happen. Clothing is probably something that we want to get going. So we're going to want to have probably a sheep farm, but eventually we're going to want some flax as well. So that's looking good. Our living space is fine for the moment, but we just need to get additional houses constructed. So that looks excellent. Yes, we do have more homeless people. So when do we want to build that church? It fulfills one level of faith requirement for Burgage plots. It provides hallowed ground for burial of dead villagers, and workers become grave diggers. And it's kind of an awkward shape, to be honest. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty awkward shape. So we would need to put it like somewhere out over here, perhaps. Which seems viable. But we are going to need some timber for that. So that means that our saw pit is going to have to be being worked on. What we need, I think, more than anything right now is more people, because we're running out of people to work the jobs that we have, right? So we're starting to have a pretty long queue at this point. But that's okay. So I do want to come down over this direction and start thinking about arability. How do we see what the arability is? Ah. Okay, so this area is indeed quite arable. So that sounds good. Do pastures need arable land, though? No, they do not. So pastures can be built in non-arable land. Whereas the fields, of course, should probably be built in arable land. Yeah. So, do we have to build these on the field? Presumably. So the field has to be rectangular in shape. I'm wondering... Yeah. So a rectangular field out over this direction might not be the worst point here. So it's 1.0 Morgan in size. Okay. So farming. Farmhouse employs families who work on the fields. The workforce is distributed proportionally in accordance with the field's set priority level. Okay, so do we only need the one farmhouse? I don't know. We'll find out. When crops are growing, they absorb certain nutrients from the soil, temporarily lowering its fertility and thus diminishing yields over time. So crop rotation. Yep, got it. That'll be fine. And then the farmhouse. So the farmhouse should be built, it looks like, outside of the field. Gotcha. So obviously this field is slightly awkward. It's currently fallow, so we can have it be wheat, barley, and flax. And wheat is the highest fertility here right now, by a wide margin. Wheat is what we want to build anyway, so that's fine. Do we want to turn on crop rotation? It triggers after the harvest season ends, and keeping it fallow regenerates the most fertility. But presumably crop rotation is going to be... Ah, I see. I see how that works. Okay, so they need to plow this field. The field priority is currently medium, but we're going to need a farmhouse. And where do we want to put that? We could put a farmhouse somewhere up over... I keep trying to right-click and drag to rotate rather than left-click and drag. We could put the farmhouse, like, up over here, in theory. A couple of trees would be uprooted for this. But I think we'll do it. Okay, so that seems fine. We're going to want to have some roads out over this way, right? So a road here would be absolutely fine. And then we'd want to have a road that comes up and maybe not like that, but like that. Yeah, that looks reasonably fine for now. So we'll build a farmhouse out over here and a field. I would like to get some pasture land for sheeps going as well. Now, this is 1 Morgan in size, which is probably not going to keep us fully afloat, but we do also have our wild animals up here, which are being hunted by this hunting camp. And eventually, this is going to hunt it down to the level where it's no longer going to hunt. I'm not sure how quickly this regenerates, if it only regenerates in the seasonal deposits, or if it regenerates constantly. We'll find out. So we have more burgages getting finished, and that is wonderful. We are, of course, also going to want to build a windmill. Works most efficiently on empty land, unobstructed by buildings or trees. And yeah, we don't have enough goods here. So we're going to want to get this logging camp going again, and we'll get going on that one. Cool. So the forester's hut is just busily planting out over here. We just want to make sure that we have a constant source of trees, right? So that'll be fine for now. I believe trees will probably regrow somewhat naturally as well. But for the moment, I want to just continue to work on all of this. Now, we don't have anyone in our saw pit, and we probably don't want to. Family members join one of the settlers. Burgage plot... Number 1. Okay, so we still only have the 4 families. That's fine. We just finished up one of our burgages. Looks good. So if we wanted to construct a backyard extension, we could do a vegetable garden, kitchen, a chicken coop, or a goat shed. Interesting. So level 2 burgage plots generate 1 regional wealth per family per month. And it unlocks different extensions. So we could certainly put in some extensions here. These cost whatever that is. I believe it to be gold, but whatever. So we could definitely have these be, let's see, a passive yield of eggs, hides, which we don't necessarily want. We're missing a development branch of orchardry to get the apple orchard. So for now, we could definitely come in, say, here, and put in... Saving has finished. Yes. We could come in here and put in a vegetable garden. Then we could come in here, and we could put in a chicken coop. Okay, that's a regional wealth. Gotcha. That's fine. And then over here, we could put in kind of nothing. It's being constructed right now. But for the moment, this will do. I think that we've probably spent all that we can. Yeah, we don't have enough wealth to do these. So this is our wealth here. Interesting. Amount of money owned by villagers from this region. Can be used for import or converted to treasury via a tax policy. Okay. So that's fine. So I would like this to, as soon as we get additional wealth, probably become a vegetable garden. And then this one would become a chicken coop. And then this one, I don't know what we'd do with it yet. We could do one of these as a goat shed in order to get some hides. That's a theoretical possibility. I don't know what we'll do with the hides yet, but that's definitely something that we can work towards. Okay, so we have a family assigned to our logging camp. We have no one assigned right now to our saw pit. We do need to continue to work on our construction. So we've got these 2 burgages being worked on, and currently our hitching post has no one assigned, but it is definitely being guided. So that looks okay for the moment. We just need to get one more piece of timber out over here, and then we'll start constructing these, I'm sure. Cool. So that looks reasonably okay for now. We do want to get a church built fairly soon-ish. And I'm thinking the church is probably going to go somewhere out over this way. That said, our homeless people's tents are going to disappear very soon, once we complete this burgage. So that should be okay. I think there's no real problem there. Excellent. So we're still in spring for right now, and we are not going to be growing crops, according to this, until summer. So we definitely do want to get this field online. We're going to want to find a location to build our windmill. I'm just looking at the wind efficiency here. Actually, up over here is pretty ideal. So that seems fine. We can put a windmill up over this way. And then a communal oven would probably end up going like over on this side. Something like that. I'm deliberately trying not to make this too like blocky and gritty and trying to have this have some very like organic feels to the way it's laid out, because that just thematically fits very well. So that should be fine. We see that our approval is still going down a little bit due to homelessness, and that's unsurprising. Cool. So this Burgage plot is still under construction, as is this one. This one's very close to being done, though. There we go. So we just got a new message and our settlement level increased. To get more population, you need to have enough empty Burgage plots, and your approval needs to be over 50%. Got it. So what is this message? A strong militia is paramount to the survival of any settlement. Luckily, a shipment of weapons has just arrived, and you'll now be able to create your first militia banners to serve you and protect your people. However, we'll need more weapons to equip all the people as the settlement grows, either by making them or importing them from other lands, so we can form a militia. Okay. So where are these weapons? Did they come into our storehouse, perhaps? Yeah, we've got 20 spears and 20 large shields there. Okay, so that's fine. This is our army here, so we could create a new unit. We could create some militia like this. Here's a question. How many people does it take? It takes recruits. Okay. So obviously we want to create a spear militia, right? That'll make sense. The male villagers will be evenly distributed between all militia units. They will then try to find the required equipment. The weapon and shield depends on the unit type, while the maximum quality of body armor and helmet depends on the villager's residential level. After bringing all the necessary equipment home, the unit recruits are marked as ready to rally. Only then will you be able to rally your unit. Okay, so we can only get the one, looks like, but that's okay. So that looks fine for now. We'll get them set up for that. They'll get prepared. So we can see that these guys out here are, looks like, working on their vegetable garden. Although, now she's transporting spears, apparently. It doesn't really look like she is, but, you know, whatever. That's fine. How are we doing out over here on the farmhouse? Well, it still requires its timber. So, where exactly is the ox right now? Ah, here it is. So it looks like we are gathering this timber. That's fine. Our logging camp is still being worked on, and family members have joined one of the settlers. Burgage plot level 1. Cool. So we've still only got the 4 families for now, but everybody is at least, or rather the 5 families for now, but everyone is at least housed. That's good. Is this construction actively being worked on? I don't think so. We only have the 1 family constructing at this moment. So as we can see here, we still only have 7 months before supplies run out. We definitely want that number to come up somewhat. That'll be fairly important. So, I do want to get us a windmill built eventually. And this is a really good spot for one, I feel like. We're also going to need that church. And the church could go, like, out over this way or something. I'm kind of thinking, like, facing it this direction and putting it about here. Or so. That's what I'm leaning towards. But we're going to need some timber for that. So we don't have that as of yet. This saw pit is going to have to do some sawing. But currently we need the timber for a lot of other things. So for now, that'll be fine. So these guys are currently at 10 out of 36. Recruits are missing. That's understood. We probably just need more people for that, right? That would be understandable. So we've got water access for all of these. They've got fuel and food supply, but what they don't have is a supply of clothing. And that's probably going to be fairly important here. So we need to go into, I think, industry. And we can have a tannery. So that will produce leather. Presumably that's going to be used to produce armor of some sort. How do we use the leather? I'm assuming there's a way to use the leather here somewhere. This produces malt, and that would be utilized in, like, taverns, but we would need to brew that into ale. So that's definitely interesting. This is, like, all intermediary goods here. Yeah, this is pretty much all intermediary goods. So I'm assuming this has something to do with our specialization. And we can go into here, and because we leveled up, we can spend one of these. So this enables hunters to skillfully lay traps in the forest, which gives a passive income of meat. Doubles capacity of berry deposits. This gives us access to honey. Orchardry, sheep breeding. Sheep grazing on the pastures slowly multiply. Okay. A plowing station for oxen to help plow. Makes sense. Basic armor making, charcoal burning. We probably aren't too interested in that yet. Firewood carts and food carts. Okay. It provides a passive income of firewood and bread as long as the region has enough regional wealth. So this is essentially just buying in the materials. Okay. I kind of feel like a passive income of meat would be decent. So do we have to do like an upgrade or anything up over here for that? I don't think so. So we would just get a passive income of meat up over here, regardless of whether we're hunting the animals or not. So that seems reasonably okay. However, what that doesn't do is that doesn't give us any way, as of right now, to convert things like, say, the yarn here into clothing. We're still lacking the ability to do that. So that is definitely noted. A church would definitely be a good thing to put in eventually. But yeah, I'm thinking the communal oven is going to go over here. The windmill is almost certainly going to be placed here. But I kind of want to get the communal oven first. So we'll put that right there. And then the question is, will the windmill still be at 100% efficiency here? The answer is yes, it will. But we need more timber for it. Understandable. So no problem there. We do see that the sun is starting to go down at this point. So we're going to be in May fairly soon. Luckily, we've managed to get all of these houses constructed, or at least most of them. And what are these guys doing right now? Okay, yeah, they're just transporting their shields and spears. That's fine. We'll want them to finish that up and get done with that and get back to work. That would be a very good thing. New mercenary companies are available. Good to know. But for the moment, I don't care too much about that. This field needs a lot of work. That's for sure. That's definitely going to be the project next month, is getting our wheat production online. And also potentially getting additional fields made, because I'm betting that this field is probably not going to maximize usage of our windmill and our communal oven. But we'll see. We at least want some form of food production, right? And having alternate food sources is very, very good. Now, we could go for the berries that are out over here. That is definitely a thing that we could do. Ah, the wild animals are up to 33 out of 40. So they are definitely regenerating, at least during the spring. I'm guessing that they probably regenerate year-round. It doesn't seem to say that they are a... that they are a seasonal deposit. Yeah, this is a seasonal deposit. This is not. Cool. So that should be fine for the moment. We've got still the 7 months of food and the 11 months of fuel, but we should be getting back to work fairly soon. We are transporting the shields and spears. In fact, all the spears have been transported. The shields are being transported. So that looks fine, and we'll be able to utilize our spear militia eventually, but we are lacking recruits for that. We'll be able to utilize them eventually to defend our territory. We're definitely not going to be getting aggressive anytime soon. So all the goods have been transported to our farmhouse. And we're lacking 2 for our communal oven. But then we're going to want to get this windmill going, right? And that's going to cost 4. So we have not enough goods currently. But I do want to put this in here, or yeah, it's 100% efficient right up over here. So this seems like the place to put it. It really, really does. Okay, we just want to snap it in somewhere like this. Yeah, that's giving us not enough goods. So we'll just have to wait for this timber to be cut. We've got 2 timber in the logging camp right now. There is a family assigned to the logging camp, but they're probably transporting spears and shields right now, rather than logging. But hey, at least everybody is currently housed. So that is progress. And we're not actually constructing out over here. Let's get that construction priority up to high. Yeah, Toman over here is working on that. So that looks good. I'd like to get that Burgage completed and get our approval brought up. It is currently raining, though, so there is that. Luckily, we don't have goods being damaged out in the rain right now, so that's fine. We're eating 2 sources of food at this point. We're eating meat and bread, so that's positive. And the communal oven has already had its goods transported to it. So at this point, the ox here is going back to rest. Okay, sure. We've only got the 2 timber. We're going to want to get 2 more. So, you are transporting firewood. Okay. Large shields, large shields. So yeah, it definitely seems like the day-night cycle is purely cosmetic, but that does tell us... Yeah, it just switched over to May. So that does definitely give us a warning of when the month is shifting. So I think that's a useful thing to have, for sure. It's definitely a little dark, but should be fine. And our final Burgage over here is going to be finished up fairly soon. Now, we've only got the 10 regional wealth. So that's certainly noted. And we're still working on these vegetable fields over here. But having a small passive form of retrieving vegetables would be good. Having passive meat coming in would be amazing as well, which we do have, in theory, at this point, assuming we've set up the traps, which is maybe a big assumption. However, this Burgage is now complete, and that's wonderful. That means that we have an open house. So all we need now is our approval to go up over 50%, and we should get another family. In theory. These Burgages are definitely quite large, so we'll have to come up with where exactly we want to expand them to. No doubt about that. But for the time being, all we need is the 1 open one, and that'll be fine. So what are we doing down over here? Ah, you're going to set a trap. Okay. Sounds good. What are we doing up over this way? You're working in the vegetable fields. I thought I saw somebody wandering around over here, but that does not appear to be the case. Noted. Looks like the rain has stopped, which is, of course, absolutely fine. Going to plant trees. You are looking for a planting spot, as are you. So they are all looking to plant trees. And you're a firewood cutter transporting firewood. Okay. So as you can see, we're down to 6 months of food at this point. We absolutely do need to be getting our food online. We are... That's surplus goods. I want total goods stored here. So we've got 7 timber at this moment. That, of course, means that we can queue up this windmill. Or not. Not enough goods. We have 7. It costs 4. Uh-huh. We can't build it here because it would be overlapping the road. We could build it here, but we don't have enough goods. Presumably, this is just not counting some of our resources out over here or something. I'm not sure exactly what we've got going on there. But what I do know is that we want to get this field online this month. Definitely. We want to get it plowed as soon as possible. That's going to take some time. So we do have our communal oven built at this point, and there's not really anything to do with it. We have 3, or is that 4? That is 3 logs here, and we're now down to 6 timber. Yeah, not able to build that yet. Okay. Well, we'll just give it a little bit of time, and we'll get this farmhouse completed. I do want to get us some work done in the saw pit, but it'll take a little bit before we get additional population in here. We're at 49% approval. We need to go up over 50. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to complete this farmhouse and hopefully get this field plowed. I would love to get our windmill online and maybe, just maybe, get our church going as well. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy McGar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Tommy, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video. And as always, I will see you all next time.